Hey everybody, welcome. It is week, I don't know, 8-ish, something like that. And this week, of course, is optional class time. So, but I mentioned that I would kind of give you a preview, a little walkthrough of what kind of the next step is in writing the argument papers. So last week in class, we talked about the topics. You guys did some great brainstorming and all that good stuff. And so the next step is to kind of start doing your research. Hopefully, you have gravitated towards one of the topics and you can start compiling sources. One of the big things that we want to highlight in ENC 1102 is the use of academic sources or sources that we access using the library. So we use the same screens to access Google that we use to access the library. And everybody, myself included, we are always tempted to start with Google. In fact, some people, I guess, are now even more tempted to start with ChatGPT, but Google typically is our main search use for the internet. And I want you for this paper to go to the library first, and then as additional sources might be needed, we can use the internet. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the library searches. I'm also going to show you, like, when I'm starting a research project, how I do that. So I'm going to share two windows here. I've got a Word document and I've got the course. So in the Word document, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set this up as an MLA formatted paper. Okay. So I'm going to click on no spacing. I'm going to change to double spacing. I'm going to change it to Times New Roman, and I'm going to do the same thing when I insert the page number in the header. And then I'm gonna put that on the right-hand side. Okay. So I'm going to double click on that and I'm going to change that to Times New Roman as well. And in the front of it, I'm going to type my sample student's last name. All right. In the regular paper, everything is plain double space. So I've clicked on no spacing, I've changed to double spacing, and I'm going to type my student name, teacher's name, ENC1102. And then I'm just going to use today's date. I am recording this on class night. So we're talking about 9 October 2025. All right. I'm going to give my paper at some point a creative title. Right now, I don't really need one. And I'm going to go ahead and enter a page break because I'm going to create my works cited list before I even really look at the sources. If you do this when you are first starting a research project, you will save yourself a lot of pain and suffering when the time comes to turn it in. I don't know how many times I tried to do my works cited list at the end because, of course, it goes at the end. And last minute struggles. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so much harder at the last minute. So we're going to call this works cited and we're going to go back to the regular margin and turn on the hanging indent. So just as a reminder, what that does is until you tell it otherwise, every time you hit enter, you're going to have that second line plus indented. Okay. So that's just it's already set up that way. If you don't do it, we can do it later. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't know. I like to have this done before I even really start the paper. One of the big reasons for that is when I use a source in my paper, I am going to have to include an in-text citation. And the only way that you can know 100% what should be inside that in-text citation is by what comes first on the works cited, which is why it's typically an author's last name. But if we don't have an author, it's a title. Okay, so let's go get some sources. All right, so I'm going to go Oh, Zoom doesn't help me. I'm going to go into the class and I can click on the library. I have not turned on the student view, so I apologize. You see a lot of extra links, but it's just easier. And that way too, I probably won't get signed out of the library. So once I'm signed in. So anyway, all right. So when you search the Valencia College Library, there's a couple of ways to do it. One is if you know that you're only looking for articles, and you want to search a particular database, you can do that. You can go directly to databases A to Z. In fact, I will highlight a couple that I find incredibly useful. When you do use databases A to Z, you will notice that the featured databases are over here, that are the most frequently used. And the ones that I highly recommend are Academic OneFile, Academic Search Complete, and because we are doing argumentative topics, opposing viewpoints. I will go into one of these and show you how to search it after we do the general search, just to so you can see kind of the difference. So databases A to Z, you are picking a particular database to search. When you search library databases, you are typically looking at magazine, journal articles, newspaper articles. There are some times that they'll include things like podcasts and different stuff. So, and videos, occasionally. So it's typically something that's fairly small. If you are looking at a library catalog, you are searching for books or full-length videos and things like that. So if you know that you want to search the catalog, you can do that. And really, honestly, when you search the, when you use the, you search anything, when you use this bar that I'm in right now, typically you're searching everything. So you're searching the library catalog, you're searching all the databases at the same time. Now, what that means, of course, is that you're going to get a ton of resources. So I'm just going to pick one of our topics at random. Let me pull that assignment up just so I can remember um, what uh, what we are doing. You go down. Um, and I'm just going to pick one at random. The argument paper, there it is. All right. I think I'm going to use healthy screen time for my sample today. So when you search, a big part of it is the search terms. And most of the time, if you are searching for something and you find that you're not finding something, that it is entirely possible that you are just not calling it the right thing. Now, you notice when you're in the library, it will pop up and you can actually chat with a live librarian. Those are very helpful, by the way. I'm not going to chat with them, but you can do that. So I'm going to search for, I'm just going to put in screen time. Easy peasy. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a lot of results. I'm going to get 125,117 results. Now, I don't really want to go through all that. So I'm going to start adding, I'm going to add some terminology. So screen time and health. Let's see if we get anything that kind of talks about how overuse of screens can affect your health. There's a lot of sources there, 37,000, and most of them are hardcore academic articles. While it's great to use actual academic articles in what we call peer-reviewed sources, typically for the types of things we're writing about, we would not need this kind of thing. We certainly don't need to know about a localized outbreak of dengue fever in Kuala Lumpur. I don't think that has anything to do with screen times. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the resource type, and I am going to limit this to magazine articles to start with because there's only 2,852 of them. Book chapters might be good. Online first articles might be good. There's a lot of things that we can click off here, but I just want to do one at a time just to kind of show you. So we're going to do magazine articles. We're going to limit it to magazine articles. That took us down to under 3,000. And then we've got like here's health news. I'm not seeing anything related to limiting screen time. I'm not seeing anything for that. So probably what I need to do is change the way that I am phrasing this. So I'm going to change it to cell phone use and health. And let's see if that gets us more in the range. So again, a lot of it just has to do with how you're searching. And the librarians can be really, really helpful for kind of what to do with your search terms. Online without the line, cellular telephones. Oh my goodness. Okay. Cell phone cancer, mobile telephones and cancer. Okay, I don't really like any of these. I don't like this search term either. Let's put in computer use and health. Now I've got some peer reviews in here. Let me make sure. I'm going to go back and check magazine articles again and try to limit it to that. Computer systems of the future, David and Goliath, word processing. Okay, let's try one more. Let's try adding children. And again, I'm going to go to magazine articles. Okay. So this is one where I would probably talk to one of the librarians, honestly. And you don't have to chat live with them just when they're online. You can also email librarians and get some extra help there. Uh I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try searching for this in opposing viewpoints. Opposing viewpoints, by the way, is specifically a argument-based database. And there are even, you can even go in and see all the issues that they cover. Um, let's see, I'm just kind of curious if they have screen time on here. They don't. Um, they do have smartphones as a subtopic. Um, Computer, do they have anything? No. Okay, so you can also search though. So we're going to search for, I'm just going to search again for screen time. Okay, looky here. Right. So here's the interesting thing. The general search, I think, is too broad for this particular topic. But going into one of the databases, we found things immediately that are relevant to what we're looking at. Okay. When you go through Gale, and this is a Gale database, there's a couple of Gale ones on that list. When you go to a Gale database, and this one specifically, you're using opposing viewpoints, it will break it down for you in terms of different types of things. So 265 articles in academic journals, 43 videos, 3 statistics, 9 what they call viewpoints, which would be argumentative points of view, 84 audio, so lots of podcasts, things like that, 2 websites, 1 biography, news, images, and magazines. Okay, so I'm going to go to viewpoints because we want to have what people are saying about screen time. So let's try viewpoints. Okay. Guilt over kids' screen time is common, uncomfortable, and can stress family relationships. Technology-based approaches to education are inferior to traditional learning methods. I think that would be probably a good one. School start in times and screen time late in the evening exacerbate sleep deprivation. Okay, so there's a lot on here that we may want to use, save, whatever. So I'm just going to open this one. Okay. So when you've opened it, you will notice that up here in the top, you will see a cite button. Now, in Gale databases, you also have the cite stuff down here at the bottom. Either one is fine. So we're going to click on this, and the default is MLA. So we don't have to go anywhere or change anything. So I am going to copy this. And I am going to go back to my works cited. I've already got the hanging indent turned on, and I'm going to say match formatting. So it kept it double spaced. It kept any italics that were already there, and it used the hanging indent. So this is a proper MLA citation. Now, when I cite this, if I'm quoting from this article or I'm paraphrasing it, it does have an author's name. It is not a scanned PDF of a page. So I cannot tell you in that original magazine that it was in or journal that it was in, I cannot tell you a page number. So when you cite it, you're only going to use the author's last name. Now, other things to do when you find something that you think you might use. A lot of things you can do with it. One is, of course, you can download it. If you want to save articles, you can save articles. I don't like to do that because I don't need a whole bunch more stuff on my computer when I already have too much. I like to use send to. So I'm going to click on send to, and it's going to let you email it or send it to Google Drive or OneDrive. This is how I like to keep track um, when I'm doing a research paper. So I'm just going to open my Google Drive and see what happens. Yeah, it's really me. I promise it's me. Grief. I don't know if this is the right. No, it's not. Okay, so cancel. Let me go back. Let me try one of my others. No. Okay. I don't remember my passwords because this is why I always put them in. Let's do try again, and let's do uh let's try that. Oh, maybe I only have to touch ID. I only have to touch ID. Okay. No. Okay. I have no idea. Anyway, I usually don't use Google Drive. I usually just email it to myself. If you use the email, you'll want to call it something that you will recognize. I will say, like here, I would put ENC 1102 paper sources. Now, you can send it to yourself as a PDF, so you can just access it, which is kind of cool. You can also just send the citation. But if you're saving the citation in Word anyway, I don't think that you need the citation. It'd be great if you just gave it to yourself. So I'm just gonna send it to myself and see if I got what I get with the PDF. I know I'm not sharing that screen, but let me see when it comes through here, what happens. See how long it takes. Sometimes, as we know, things take forever online. Okay, it hasn't come through yet, but I will look at it uh, before we leave. So find a way to save it. I typically do not want to sit here and read and take notes as I'm going, although you absolutely can. So one of the things that you can do is if you want to look at it right then, you can use the text part of this or use a separate thing. You could even put it directly under it, although I like to keep the works cited list, just the citations. So let's say I want to take notes right now. So I'm going to put Buck and then I'm going to take notes. Okay, this is what I want to save. If there's a quote I want to save, I can put everything in here. Now, obviously, this is going to go away when you create the paper, but it's a nice way to save the information. The other thing that you can do, because this article is not terribly long, is you could actually copy the article and paste it in there. I like to have the original text because I want to do my paraphrasing later and I don't want to accidentally plagiarize. So, up to you how you want to take notes. You can do it any way that you want to. I don't like to do it right that second. I like to save them and then come back later. But that's just me. Okay, so let's go back to the results. Let's choose another one. Just out of curiosity, let's choose a video. Here we go. Too much screen time. It's only 3 seconds. Surely that's not true. Too much screen time linked to high blood pressure, high cholesterol in kids. I mean, let's look. Okay. It is a minute and 33, and I know that the sound is off, but here's what's cool. With this, you have the text, so you can copy and paste text if you want. You can look, for quotes. You also have the source citation, both there and up here. Oh, except I hit send to. Let's do cite, and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put that in my Word document. Now, let's go to the next line and we're going to paste that in. Now, one thing that's interesting about the formatting, this doesn't have an author. So you notice that the article titles have quotation marks around them. And when we cite this video, we are going to use just the beginning of the article in the parenthetical citations. It will still have quotation marks around it. But that's what we're going to use because again, it's what, oh, look, I got celebration. Did I do, I know I can do this. My team gets really jealous because they can't get their computers to do it. I don't know what I did to make confetti, but anyway, too much is what we would use in the in-text citation with the quotation marks around it. And it's a video, so we definitely don't have page numbers. Okay. All right. So opposing viewpoints, I think is going to be a good option for any of them, but let's go look at a different database so you can see how things look different. So I'm going to go back to databases A to Z, and instead of Academic OneFile, which is by the same company, I'm going to click on Academic Search Complete, which is EBSCOhost, which is a totally different company. All right, so we're going to put in screen time. There we go. And mental health. Oh, okay. So the databases are probably your best bet. And that means searching the databases and not using the general search for this topic especially. When we're in the EBSCOhost database, we want to make sure that we can only see things that we can get the whole thing of. So I'm going to click on full text. Now, in later classes, you may have to use peer-reviewed things. And if you do, you can click this box. That's going to limit you to full text. Okay, so I'm going to click on search. And I have 539, which is a good number. That's not overwhelming. I mean, granted, I'm not going to open every single one of them, but these can be really helpful. You'll notice that in the EBSCOhost database, we have the search term is highlighted. It won't stay that way when we get the actual citation. Let's do, and many of these are peer reviewed, but they still look like they might be useful. Relations among screen time and commonly co-occurring conditions in autistic youth. That might be kind of interesting. So under access options, we have two choices. We can pull the PDF or we can just get the online full text. If it's available, I always like to look at the PDF. But before I do that, I'm going to click on the title because I want to get the citation first. So let's see. Here we go. Here's the cite button. Now this one has APA as the default, so we're going to have to change it. And then we're going to copy this and we're going to put it on our page. So I'm going to hit enter again and I'm going to paste that in. Now, notice that this time we have more than one author and we have more than 3 authors. The reason we know that is because we have Michelle Menezes et al. So when we use an in-text citation, it's going to say Menezes et al. We need to make sure that everything is properly capitalized. You probably don't have to do that one, but it's a good idea. And now I can look at the article. Same thing with EBSCOhost. If you want to download it, you can download it. If you want to share it, that will help you to email it. You can also add to a project. EBSCOhost will allow you to create an account basically, and then they'll save your stuff for you. But whatever. All right, so let's take a look at the PDF. The reason I like to use the PDF if it's available is because 2 things. One is I will get the page numbers. So if I cite something from this, I can not only put Menezes et al., but I will also have a specific page number. So like if I cited this paragraph, for example, I would say Menezes et al. 411. Okay. So if you have the option to get the PDF, that's cool. If the general search doesn't work, then I would do exactly what I just did, which is go first to opposing viewpoints because of the argumentative side of that. And next to EBSCOhost, to this particular database. It's a general database, and it's going to have things on all kinds of topics. They're also going to have different things because they are owned by 2 different companies. Okay. I think that's enough information for today. Oh, no, I take it back. I'm going to do one more thing with you. So one of the things that we will be doing is we will be putting these in alphabetical order. Now, it's not really hard right now because all I have to do is move Menezes above the T. However, I want to show you how to use Word to sort it. So we're going to delete that and we're going to highlight the list. Doesn't matter with 3, but honestly, you usually have a big long list and I prefer not to go through my ABCs. So all I have to do is click on the A to Z and click OK. It is now put them in alphabetical order for me and I can go back in here and put the quotation mark back in. Okay. We will do some of this in class next week. But this should get you started if you're already thinking about finding resources. One other quick thing I would say is if we are using a website, let's talk about that a little bit. So let's go to Google, and let's put in screen time and health. Oops, health. I can spell health. There we go. Healthy balance. I like that. So there's going to be a lot of great information on the internet about screen time and healthy balance. Like there's all kinds of wonderful things. These all look like they're probably decent websites. We know the Mayo Clinic is a trusted medical site. So there's all kinds of things that we could use here. I'm just going to pick the very first one just for the sake of time. So when we are using a website, we have to give a lot of information, and many websites don't have the information that we need. We are going to be using every time we change, like if we click on one of these links, it's another source. So every time this URL changes, if you use multiple pages from the same site, you have to cite each page separately. The easiest way that I know of to get website citations is we're going to copy the URL and we're going to open a website called Scribber. Scribber is a website generator, citation generator, amongst other things. They do all kinds of things. And I have been recently using MLA. This will typically, the default will be APA, so you may have to change this. If you come in, let me show you what it looks like because it's usually APA. If you come in and you see, uh-oh, oh no. Let's try that again. Oh no, my internet went down. Okay. Always a fun time.